Hey, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. This is a series of videos where I make cabochons out of rocks that I buy or find. This week, we got a piece of bloodstone I bought at a rock show. Let's make a cabochon. So this week's project is a piece of bloodstone. I bought this slab at a rock show. And I bought a whole bunch of slabs there. And I don't know what, I ask them what kind of rocks they are, and I get this deer in the headlight look. I don't know what they are. And it's kind of frustrating because I'd like to know, when I'm making a rock on a video, I'd like to know exactly what it is. But I found this one. I accidentally ran across it online. I go, oh, I got a rock that looks like that. And I brought it up, and it's bloodstone. So the Mohs on this is 6.5 to 7. It feels pretty hard. It's kind of greenish, as you can see. It's got some orange stuff going on in there. And let's see, I think I'm gonna do this side. So let's get this wet, take a look at it. It's very pretty. I'm really kind of, and I saw some cabochons some people made online, and they look nice. So I'm hoping we'll get a nice shine out of this and a pretty cabochon. So I think I was going to do that side, and I'm going to do this trapezoid pattern here. And I want to get right down in here is where I kind of scouted this beforehand. We're going to do the 1.1 inch and mark it up with a regular Sharpie here. A little dark, so I don't think a black line is going to do me any good. So here's the pattern. The only problem with these Sharpies is they like to leak a little bit, and you can kind of see it right there. So we'll take it down in the trim saw. We'll cut this out. Actually, I'll probably take it on my slab saw because I think this piece is too big for my trim saw. And we'll kind of make this a little smaller, and then we'll take over the trim saw. We'll cut this out, and then we'll take it to the cabbing machine. We'll grind it down to the line. Put a dop stick on it, and then make a cabochon out of it. So see you downstairs. Okay, got the bloodstone here. We're going to trim it down to the edge of this line here. We'll start with the 80 grit, 220 grit, and the 280 grit. Now I just bought new wheels and put them on there. Oh my God, are these things sharp. So I got to be really careful with what I do with these new wheels here, but it really cut back on the time. You just don't realize how dull these things can get after a while. So let's get started. Okay, that's all the closer I'm going to get with that one. Now we're moving on to the 220. Now remember now, when you're working on a radius, you got to keep moving, especially on new wheels. And then try to work around the face of the wheel so you get an even wear. Just don't stay right in the middle all the time. How about that? I would have been on there like 3 times longer with the old wheels than I just did right there. So now we're going to move it on to the 280. Take the scratches out from the 220. See what kind of shine we might be getting here. Get it dried off. Yeah, should be nice. All right, you got the dop pot fired up. I'm gonna put a dop stick on it, and then we'll start making it into a cabochon. Okay, we're all dopped up here, and we're gonna start making this in the cab. Now, first I gotta get the dome established in the girdle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start grinding on this top edge right here. And I'm going to grind down to about an 1/8 inch, 2 millimeters on the bottom. And then once I get that established, then I'm going to go after the edge that's left over and work my way towards the center. And then once I get that done, then I'll start on the 80 grit wheel and start doming it. So let's get going. Yeah, here we go. One of those days. I'll have to re-dop it. Okay, dop attempt number 2. Let's see how far we can get with this one. Okay, I established my girdle. Establish my girdle. Now I'm going to work this top edge right here. Okay, that's good enough for me. I don't ever go right to the center. You could keep, cutting angles in until you hit the center. That's what most books will tell you what to do. But I'm going to start doming it now. Now doming it, I'm just rocking it back and forth, working across the top of it here. Going from the girdle to the girdle, but try not to go too far so you don't cut into the girdle. You want to keep that where that's at established. Okay, here we go. Now it's going to show you, you can still see the flat spot on top there. That's what I'm trying to get rid of right now by doming it. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, apparently this rock does not like being on a dop stick, so we're going to put it on another dop stick. Okay, dop number 3. All I got left is this little spot on top here. Once I grind that out, we're going to move on to the 220. So let's see how far we can get this time. Okay, I like the height. Flat spot's gone. Let's move on to 220. I'm going along the edges here to get all the saw marks out from the 80 grit. Since these are new wheels, we got to be a little more thoughtful of this. All right, let's move on to the 280 grit. Nice little pattern starting to emerge there. I'm liking it. Now we're going to break the edge. Do a little bit more on that edge there. Okay, I'm happy. Let's move on to the polishing side. So I'm going to shut you off here for a second. All right, we're over here on polishing side. We got 600, 1200, 3000, and then I got a cerium oxide pad around the corner here. So we'll start with 600. So when I'm polishing, you know, I don't just go, I like to take wide swings with this because you're not removing a lot of material anymore, and then try to go on the ends and then back and forth like that. Okay, now we're going to move on to the 1200. And here we go. I thought we were going to have a clean run here, so and it was a nice clean break too. So we're going to put this back on the dot pot, and we'll continue our quest here. Okay, we're back on the machine. Got the number 4 dop on the rock here, and we left off on the 1200. So let's move on to the 3000. All right, I'm really curious what this bloodstone is looking like on the 3000. Liking that. We'll take it over into cerium oxide. We can bump this up a little bit. Okay, this cerium oxide disc. I gotta put my splash guard in here because it splashes a lot. So let's see if we can bump this up a little bit here. All right, let's see what we got. Kind of curious how this little towel, little pant leg here. Oh yeah, look at that shine. Got a really cool looking pattern and a really good looking shine. So I'm gonna take this upstairs and throw it in the freezer and get it off this top stick, and then we'll talk about it. Well, after 4 failed attempts with the dop stick, we finally got the cabochon through the process. So we took a chunk of this slab of bloodstone, and turned it into a beautiful cabochon. Let's take a closer look at it. Well, I can say nothing, but I am super impressed with this stuff. Got a beautiful pattern out of it. Got some little sparkles going on in there. There's the back. There's the front. And yeah, it's just got a really good shine on it. And I'm impressed. You know, I kind of carved out this out of the slab, but you know, you know, a lot of times you're gonna have to waste a little bit to try to get the pattern you want to get it across, and then you know what I left over, I can make more cabochons. They'll just have to be in different configurations and patterns and stuff. But yeah, this is awesome. I'm really impressed. I might have to get some more of this stuff. So I might mention it again, but this will be for sale on the Etsy page eventually, once they get the photographs, the write-ups, get it on there, and it just, yeah. So yeah, there you go. Bloodstone cabochon. So I took a slab of bloodstone that I bought at a rock meet that the guy didn't even know what it was, and turned it into a beautiful cab. I went from this to this. So the cab will end up on Etsy, if I mentioned it before, and eventually. So yeah. So next week, I got myself a big chunk of hematite. We're gonna make a metallic cabochon out of this stuff here, and it's got some weight to it. It's heavy. So I really appreciate you all watching out there. I love making this content. Hopefully you find it enjoyable or informational or both. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's down below. Just click on that. It's free. And then when you subscribe, slide over and give me a thumbs up, because it gets the analytics out there so more people can see this content. Also, share it. Ring the bell. You'll be notified every time a video comes out. And there's some kind of hyperlink thingy or whatever. A lot of my viewers have been mentioning that to me. If you know what that is, click on that too. I need I like a lot of people coming in and watching this stuff. So I like to thank my subscribers too, hanging in there with me, and they're increasing, and I like that. So thanks for watching. That's all I got. I'll catch you later.